A portal opens where fear trembles. A vibration Antigua calls your name, Taurus. Like a key turning in a lock you forgot you forged. Who crossed your path before you were ready? What code has repeated in dreams, numbers and coincidences? 30 years in the making. Tonight a revelation descends, an activation sealed by old prophesias, those of Baba Vanga and the Vision Keepers, yet it speaks in your voice, your destino. Follow the frequency now. A hidden visitor returns, not to haunt you, but to hand you the lave you once refused. The next sign arrives in synchronia. What if nothing out there is chasing you, and yet you can feel steps behind your shoulder? What if that soft echo that knows your name is not warning, but permission? And what if the presence that circled your life since 1995 is not a ghost, not a person, but a living code finally ready to reveal itself? Precisely when the sky reopens an old door above your home, do you dare to turn around and face what has followed you for 30 years? Or will you keep walking faster, pretending you don't? Notice how the air thickens when you almost say yes. Taurus, I will not unpack the ending now. The thread must pull you forward. Let the mystery breathe. Let your body hear before your mind tries to argue. Because this is a message to your senses. The slow intelligence of your bones, the quiet pulse that has never abandoned you. The presence that came for you is not a hunter. It is a collector of promises. It holds unfinished agreements, prayers whispered in rooms you no longer remember, vows you made without knowing they were vows. It is the echo of the first time you asked for a life that felt fully yours. Why does it emerge now? Because the sky is conspiring with your spine. Since June, Jupiter, the great expander, has moved through Cancer, the sign that nurtures roots and remembers houses, restoring the tenderness you needed to claim what is rightful and protective for you. This is not abstract. It is the season when blessings prefer kitchens to boardrooms, when abundance wears the face of family, home, and the safety to experiment again. The cycle is precise. Jupiter entered Cancer on June 9, 2025, and remains there until late June 2026, turning the homeland of your soul into fertile ground for long-awaited growth. And what of the tremor you felt in your body, the way decisions have buzzed like live wires? That hum is Uranus, still writing its last lessons across your sign. Since early September, Uranus retrogrades between the gates of Taurus and Gemini, asking you to edit the script of stability that kept you safe but small. Retrogrades do not punish, they rehearse. They bring the scene back so you can try a bolder line. For Taurus, it's the archetype of the builder learning to become the inventor. You still love solid ground, but now the ground moves with you. This retrograde spans much of the season and asks for one brave pivot at a time. You are not imagining the heightened signals around mid-October either. The moon's encounter with Jupiter near the twin lights of Gemini is not an omen of danger. It's a lantern. It throws silver on the hidden path, a brief but unmistakable glow saying, "Here, step here." Skywatchers mark this alignment on October 13th to 14, a spectacle visible before dawn, the waning moon and Jupiter keeping each other company beside the bright twins. In poetry, we call it a visitation. In your body, it feels like a soft pressure to tell the truth, but the story did not begin tonight. It truly reawakened in September, when the eclipses reopened corridors through Pisces and Virgo, signs that tug on the lines of your friendships, faith, routines, and service. The total lunar eclipse of September 7th, 15° Pisces, and the solar eclipse of September 21st, Virgo, were not mere dates. They were scissors and thread. One cut a cord you didn't know you still carried, the other stitched an entrance into a life you almost chose years ago. Eclipses are cosmic editors. They delete what cannot belong in your next chapter, and they paste in the mysterious helper who will walk you to the threshold. If you wonder why conversations feel crucial, why certain calls feel like crossroads, watch the messenger planet. Mercury's pre-shadow approaches on October 21st, setting the stage for November's retrograde. That means the agreements and disclosures you make now will echo later, so speak from the spine, not from fear. Pre-shadows are like the first rumble of distant thunder. You have time to come under a truthful roof. And now we return to the presence that already came for you. 30 years is not random. In spiritual arithmetic, it marks a maturation of a vow made when you were still half-formed, perhaps 1995, perhaps the decade's hum, that old neon of longing. Back then, you promised yourself a life that would not betray your sense of worth. You promised to be claimed by nothing that demanded you abandon your body to belong. You promised to walk slow enough to hear your no and brave enough to honor your yes. The visitor is not a person. The visitor is that promise, now capable of standing in front of you with a face carved from your courage. So why has it felt like pursuit instead of welcome? Because Taurus learned to equate safety with invisibility. If no one sees you, no one can take from you. But anonymity is a shallow shelter. Your gift is not a secret to keep. Your gift is a field to tend, visible under the noon sun, generous and unmistakable. The presence is the steward who knocks when the harvest is ripe. It says, "You asked to be ready, you are." Do you recognize the sound of your own voice returning as destiny? Tonight, ask better questions. The kind that crack stone. Where do I still shrink when I must expand? What rhythm of work honors my nervous system without dulling my brilliance? Which agreements do I keep renewing out of habit when my soul outgrew them 2 eclipses ago? And whose eyes do I keep seeking, hoping for permission when the sky has already stamped my passport? Taurus, the code reveals itself when you stop sprinting. From the echo and turn barefoot to face it. It speaks in 4 syllables. I choose my life, not the life that buys applause, not the life that satisfies the ancestors' anxieties, not the life that keeps the peace by erasing you. Your ruler, Venus, has been rearranging your aesthetics of truth, first in Virgo, refining the small rituals that keep your day honest, and then in Libra, balancing desire with fairness. This is decorum in service of devotion. The beauty you're after is not a filter, it's integrity that glows. Listen, the field of your future is already seeded. Jupiter in Cancer waters it with memory and softness. Uranus keeps the soil from turning to stone. The eclipses cut away the weeds of people-pleasing and sterile routines. Mercury's pre-shadow asks you to sign nothing with your throat closed. The Moon-Jupiter lantern shows the path just long enough for a brave step. Your task is singular and holy. Move. And if someone already came for you, let it be your own life arriving at last, demanding to be inhabited by the one who can carry it. No longer the apprentice of caution, but the author of radiance. The presence is not a threat. It's your appointment with power. Will you open the door? I claim the life that has been calling my name, and I walk through its golden door now. Breathe it once as a vow and once as a homecoming. Let your chest rise with the certainty that the universe is already rearranging to match your courage. And if this message resonated with you, also leave your hype in this video. Subscribe, like and share, and if it touches your heart, become a member of the channel. Each hype you share strengthens this energy, helps this space to grow, and brings this light to other people who need it. What if the code isn't arcane at all, but keeps slipping past you because it wears the face of routine? What if destiny's most advanced encryption is breakfast, keys on the table, a name you almost text and don't, a detour that places you in front of a door at the exact minute the bell rings? Would you still call it coincidence, or would you admit that the frequency is speaking in a dialect you've known since childhood? Taurus, your element is earth, but your genius is cadence. You feel in beats what others chase in flashes. This is why the presence that has followed you since 1995 chose to arrive through repetition. Songs that circle back, numbers that loop, phrases you hear twice in different rooms on the same morning. The mind dismisses, the body remembers. And when the body remembers, the path brightens by degrees. This is not laziness. This is devotion to real comprehension. You are not meant to sprint toward revelation. You are meant to season it, to let it steep until the meaning feeds you. How does a code reveal itself to a sign that distrusts spectacle? Through tactile proof, through small, even sacred irritations. The cupboard that always sticks, the friend that always cancels, the thought that always returns after you try to bury it under busyness. The divine knows you don't crave fireworks. You want a door that actually opens. You want the click of alignment in your palm, so it places the combination where you'll find it most honestly, in the rhythm of your days. Have you noticed which moments feel lush, easy, oxygenated, and which feel like chewing sand? Where your breath widens, there is a sequence to follow. Where it shrinks, there is a vow to release. But codes don't just guide, they protect. The presence has kept a perimeter around a promise you made to not abandon yourself again. That promise has been tested by charming detours, relationships that loved your usefulness more than your soul, workplaces that praised your reliability while denying your creative authority, family roles that mistook your patience for consent. How many times did you sign an invisible contract just to keep the peace? How many times did you tell yourself endurance was loyalty when in truth it was self-erasure? The code intervened each time, quietly, a gut resistance, a lost email that saved you, a no you thought you hated and later thanked like medicine. Why did you treat those protections as sabotage? Because we are conditioned to worship speed, applause, and visible scale. Taurus moves differently. You build depth before height. You trust processes that don't photograph well. And yet, when urgency culture wraps its fingers around your timeline, you doubt your holy slowness. So the presence walked behind you, not to scare you forward, but to keep you from running past your own field. It gathered the parts you dropped when you hurried, a boundary here, a desire there, a clear yes you swallowed, a clean exit you postponed. Then it brought them back piece by piece until your hands were full again. Does that feel like being hunted or rescued? Let's be practical, Taurus, the way you like. If the code speaks through routine, then every room is a temple and every hour a threshold. Begin with 3 altars disguised as habits. 1. The altar of breath at doorways. Each time you cross a threshold, bed to floor, home to street, meeting to meeting, pause for one full inhale and exhale. Ask, what am I carrying forward that doesn't belong? Leave one thing behind. It might be a worry, a posture, a borrowed urgency. This is how you train your nervous system to trust transitions, to trust you. 2. The altar of the plate. Before you eat, place your hands next to the plate for a heartbeat and say, may this nourish the version of me that keeps the promise. Not the version that people pleases, not the version that bargains away clarity for companionship. Food becomes prayer, and you become keeper of your energy, not the cafeteria for everyone's hunger. 3. The altar of the name. There is a name you are avoiding, a person, a project, a path. Write it once each morning without commentary. See how the letters feel in your body. Is there dread? Is there relief? Let the writing reveal whether you're hiding from pain or from power. Then ask, does my future require me to stop postponing this? If yes, move one concrete inch toward it. If no, release it with ceremony instead of guilt. You may argue, but how do I know I'm not mistaking anxiety for guidance? By the texture of the signal. Anxiety shouts in static and demands immediate resolution. Guidance hums with a steady pitch and allows you to take a walk before deciding. Anxiety says, if you don't fix this now, the world ends. Guidance says, your life is bigger than this moment. Let's choose from spaciousness. Ubri, which voice matches your breath? Which voice helps you love people and keep your edges? The presence has another message you've resisted. You are allowed to want more than safety. Your soul did not incarnate to be merely unhurt. It came to be vividly alive. That includes beauty you can touch, results you can bank, and joy that isn't apologetic. Desire is not a threat to integrity. It is the compass that makes integrity sustainable. If you kill desire, you eventually resent the very values you tried to protect. Is that why certain good choices have felt sterile lately? Have you replaced vitality with correctness? Have you shrunk a dream to fit inside someone else's comfort zone and called the shrinkage maturity? When the code finally clicks, don't expect fireworks. Expect precision. Expect conversations that take half the time because you no longer explain your right to exist. Expect meetings where your posture becomes your filter. What cannot respect your spine will quietly opt out. Expect an evening alone that feels like a cathedral. Expect fewer friends and truer company. Expect money to begin mirroring your boundaries, not your bargains. Expect the kinds of offers that respect process and ask for outcomes you can stand behind years from now. Is this slow? Maybe. But isn't it delicious to build a life that won't collapse when somebody else changes their mind? Understand, you are not choosing between mysticism and logistics. You are choosing a logistics guided by mysticism. Your calendar becomes an oracle when you guard your mornings. Your budget becomes a talisman when it funds your actual calling. Your home becomes a sanctuary when you remove what assaults your senses. The presence is proudest when you do simple things impeccably. That's when the lock turns. That's when the corridor lights up and the next door opens with a sound your bones recognize. So, Taurus, look around. What roughness of daily life is actually sacred texture? What delay was a rescue? What repetition is a staircase? If you are willing to treat the next 7 days as a living laboratory, you will feel the code teaching you, not by thunder, but by touch. And when you finally say, "I choose my life," you won't be announcing a miracle. You'll be reporting accurate weather from the climate inside your chest. Why do certain thresholds feel guarded, as if you owe a toll at the very moment you reach for joy? Why does the old fear lean in when the new path appears, whispering that someone will be disappointed, that you'll be called selfish, that you'll lose the tribe that taught you to dull your gold? Taurus, that toll booth was built by an outdated vow, one you swore without ceremony just to survive. Perhaps you promised, "I will never be the reason anyone feels left behind." Perhaps you vowed, "If I keep everyone comfortable, I'll be safe." Perhaps, as early as 1995, the presence approached with a different contract, one where comfort follows truth instead of replacing it. And you, not ready, signed the easier paper. You paid in delay, in self-censorship, in the currency of postponed brilliance. The bill has grown expensive. The presence has returned to renegotiate. But how do you dissolve a vow that practically became your personality? Not by fighting it head-on, by outgrowing it with kindness. Picture the vow as a younger you who took the job of protector of belonging. They did not fail you. They kept you alive and connected. Now invite them to retire with honors. Tell them, "You protected me. I'll take it from here." Then assign your adult self a new role, protector of alignment. Jon, what shifts when alignment is the metric? Who keeps their seat at your table? Who belongs in your life only at the gate? You will be tempted to prove your transformation to those who doubt it. Resist. Proving is the child of insecurity. Demonstrating is different. Silent, consistent, boring even. When the code integrates, your yes and no stabilize the field around you. The right people relax. The wrong dynamics exit without performance. Ask yourself, do I want witnesses or results? Do I want debate or relief? Let's talk about a tenderness Taurus hides. Grief for the time spent negotiating with the wrong rooms. It is holy to mourn the hours you'll never recover, the loyalty that wasn't reciprocated, the craft poured into projects that didn't deserve you. If you skip that grief, you carry it forward as bitterness. If you grieve it fully, it composts into discernment. The presence gestures toward a garden that needs that compost. Will you feed it, or will you starve your future just to keep pretending you're over it? There is also the matter of forgiveness, the adult kind, which doesn't confuse reconciliation with access. Forgiveness, for Taurus, isn't a spiritual bypass. It's a boundary with a blessing attached. You can release the grip of resentment while still refusing to reenact the wound. You can say, "Go in peace," while saying, "Do not come in." This is the alchemy of earth. It transforms what is dumped upon it into nutrients, but it also grows hedges. Your new hedges will be called clarity, consent, and cadence. Behind them, your creativity will multiply. Money wants to join this conversation. Many Tauruses were taught to treat money as proof of worth or proof of betrayal. What if money becomes proof of congruence instead? What if you accept that your gift deserves reliable structures, contracts, retainers, boundaries around emergency requests, pricing that reflects consequences? You are not hard to reach. You are easy to respect. And if someone calls your boundaries a barrier, listen for what they really mean. I preferred you without sovereignty. Doesn't that translate in your body to no, thank you? Romance wants a seat too. The presence is especially tender here because love has been your favorite classroom and your hardest teacher. You want to hold a hand and hold your shape. You want affection that does not require you to audition. Here is the simple diagnostic. When you name a need, does the field of the relationship expand or contract? Do you get more air or less? Does the conversation grow teeth or grow roots? If the air thins each time you tell the truth, the relationship is allergic to you. If roots spread, you found a gardener, not a collector. Now about legacy, another Taurus word. Legacy is not a shrine that others build for you. It is a practice that survives your moods. Your legacy will be the way you leave rooms brighter than you found them without dimming yourself to do it. Your legacy will be work that ages well because it is honest at the cellular level. Your legacy will be the young ones who watch you choose alignment over applause and learn to do it earlier than you did. Is that not worth dissolving an old vow for? To close this chapter, perform a simple rite. Write the outdated promise on paper, the one that kept you small. Burn it safely. Over the ashes, speak 3 living permissions. I am allowed to be seen without shrinking. I am allowed to be paid without apologizing. I am allowed to be loved without performing. Feel the ground approve. Feel the presence step aside a little, no longer needing to come for you because you're finally coming for yourself. Have you noticed how, on the brink of a breakthrough, the world floods you with reflections? Some amplify your courage, others echo your oldest self-doubt. Some mirrors are people, well-meaning or manipulative, who project their timeline onto yours. Some are algorithms showing you more of what you're secretly afraid of. Some are memories dressed as current events. How do you walk that corridor without getting hypnotized? Which mirror deserves your full attention? The only reflection that never lies is the one inside your breath after you tell the truth. Not before. Before you speak. Anticipation warps the image. After. That is when the nervous system gives you the verdict. Did your ribcage widen? Did your shoulders drop? Did your jaw unclench? Truth might shake your voice, but it steadies your bones. Falsehood may look tidy, but it collapses your posture. This is biology as oracle. This is spirituality with evidence. Train with low-stakes honesty first. Tell a small truth where you once would have used a polite fog and check your breath. Decline a micro-obligation that your future cannot afford and check your breath. Ask for help one day earlier than embarrassment would allow, and check your breath. You are rehearsing for the bigger scenes, negotiations that define a quarter, confessions that rescue a relationship, exits that save your life. But the corridor has trick mirrors too. Some will reflect an ideal Taurus, who never makes anyone uncomfortable, never changes their mind, never grows out of a role. This mirror uses your love of reliability against you. Smash it gently. True reliability isn't sameness, it's coherence. You can change course and still be dependable if your values stay steady. You can say, I've learned more, here is the updated plan, and become more trustworthy, not less. Who told you that consistency means pretending last year's self still runs the show? Another trick mirror exaggerates your mistakes until they look like destiny. It replays your worst judgment call on a loop and declares, this is who you are. Taurus, your errors are data, not definitions. The presence has recorded each lesson, not as evidence against you, but as coordinates toward the life that fits. If you must repent, let it be elegant. Acknowledge the harm, repair what you can, adjust your pattern, and stop kneeling to shame as if it were a sacrament. Shame is a poor teacher. It grades before it explains. Your soul prefers mentors who stay for the homework. There is a generous mirror, too, the one held by those who remember your courage when you misplace it. Curate such mirrors with care. Ask yourself, who calms my nervous system without sedating my ambition? Who celebrates the boundary I set even when it inconveniences them? Who treats my time as a finite and holy resource? These are the mirrors that keep you accurate. Keep them close. Let them reflect you back to yourself when the corridor gets noisy. Work will test you in this hall. You are pivoting from indispensable executor to indispensable originator. That means you will say no more often, not because you're difficult, but because you're designing. Your calendar must show less frenzy, more architecture. Expect a season where offers increase as your availability decreases. Counterintuitive? Not really. Clarity magnetizes respect. When you stand at the center of your craft, opportunities edit themselves. The ones that require self-abandonment won't make it past the hedge. Family, chosen, and blood will mirror your evolution in complicated ways. Some will glow with relief. They were praying for you to step into your size. Others will subtly punish your boundaries because your growth exposes their stagnation. Do not accept that punishment as feedback. Growth challenges everyone's comfort, including your own. That is not proof you're wrong. Let time sort reactions. Let results speak. Let your body be the barometer that decides whose proximity benefits your weather. Spiritually, this corridor demands a new prayer. Refine my vision without dulling my tenderness. Taurus doesn't thrive in cynicism, it withers. Keep your heart porous even as your edges sharpen. Keep beauty in reach. Music that grounds you, textures that remind you of a world beyond screens, colors that feed your mammal self. You are allowed to curate your sensory life like a sanctuary. Is that excessive? Or is it smart architecture for a nervous system asked to carry more voltage? Finally, the mirror at the end of the corridor, the one behind the last door, doesn't reflect your face as you have known it. It shows the expression you wear when you are no longer negotiating your existence. It is quieter than triumph and louder than relief. It looks like belonging to your own breath. When you see it, don't perform it, live it. Walk back down the corridor and let every other mirror recalibrate. Revelation is a storm without a roof unless you build one. The presence did not escort you here to leave you soaked. It came to help you construct a house that welcomes thunder without flinching. The blueprint is simple and demanding, a schedule that protects your mornings, a budget that funds your future, relationships that respect your edges, and a body that trusts your leadership. The result is not drama. It is dignity that glows. Integration begins when you stop seeking signs instead of taking steps and start seeking signs while taking steps. You will keep receiving confirmations, numbers that thread your days, songs that arrive at uncanny moments, chance encounters that fix what months of effort could not. But each sign is an accelerant, not a substitute. Ask every time, what is the smallest faithful action that matches this guidance? Then do that before you tell anyone, before you post it, before you seek applause. Destiny loves privacy at the seed stage. The body is your instrument and your oracle now. Taurus stores stress in the jaw, the shoulders, the belly. Make 3 covenants with your physiology. Jaw covenant, no decision while clenching. If your teeth touch, you pause. You breathe until your tongue rests like a small boat on a quiet lake. Then decide. Watch how this one rule saves you from reenacting old vows. Shoulder covenant. If your shoulders climb, you are carrying someone else's timeline. Return it. You are not late to your own life. Adjust the meeting, renegotiate the expectation, refuse the false emergency. Belly covenant. Warmth is wisdom. Tea before strategy. Soup before confrontation. A heated hand on your abdomen before any email that could alter your future. You are not a floating head, you are a mammal stewarding voltage. On the inner altar, 2 practices will braid stability with wonder. 1. The ledger of fidelity. Each evening write 2 columns, where I kept my promise to myself and where I traded it away. No judgment, just accurate witnessing. Over weeks, watch how one column fattens and the other starves. That is integration, change made visible, not just felt. 2. The circle of 3. Choose 3 allies, human or ancestral, who bless your courage. When you doubt, repeat their names aloud. Ask their qualities to inhabit you for the next hour. Let courage be communal, not solitary. As you embed these practices, anticipate a pivot point that looks suspiciously ordinary. A Tuesday with no fireworks where you say yes to the right scale, not the largest stage. A Thursday where you resign from a role that thrived on your inability to say no. A quiet Sunday where you forgive yourself so thoroughly that shame runs out of arguments. The presence will not need to follow then. It will sit at your table like an old friend who no longer knocks, because the key is theirs too. What of the future? The next sign to watch for will arrive not as a shock, but as a fit. Someone will present an offer that respects process, timing, and your nervous system. The contract will feel like breathing. You will be tempted to reject it because it is too sane. Do not confuse calm with smallness. Do not confuse stability with stagnation. You are building a house that welcomes thunder and lets you sleep. And love? Love will look like maintenance that feels like joy. The right hands will help you carry, not because you are weak, but because kingdoms are easier to tend together. The right mouth will kiss your boundaries and say, "Thank you for making this safe to be wild in." The right eyes will widen when you succeed and soften when you rest. If this sounds idealized, check your body. It recognizes the blueprint. It has been waiting for you to admit it aloud. So Taurus, step across. This is the life that came for you. Patient, insistent, exact. This is the code you've been translating in sleep. This is the vow, rewritten with tenderness. This is the corridor, walked with a spine. This is the house, built with thunder in mind. And this is you, finally living without asking permission from rooms that never learned your language. The presence smiles, the lock turns, the door swings inward. Welcome home.